with all these changes in the market and all this technology evolution, we are seeing that the technology needs, of course, to adapt much faster than before. And today we are going to be addressing the printer. Printer goes beyond. And this is why we have invited SATO. Today we are with Emilie Delaunoy, Marketing Manager Europe of SATO. Welcome, Emilie.
Hello.
And also with Eckhard Wernich, Product Manager Solutions from SATO Europe.
Thanks for having us.
So let me go straight on to the point, because we've been talking before about a few topics, but I want to address one question. What is the main challenge that you are seeing in the printer and technology evolution in this moment, Eckhard?
Yeah, let me go a little bit beyond.
Yeah.
So printing and identifying things has ever been there. By the way, SATO invented the thermal printer in 1980.
Good to know.
And since then, we have all been labeling. We know labels from everywhere. But if we look in retail today, and this is where I want to start, it's more about data, preferably real-time data. So if you look back a little bit, retailers got transaction or batches of transaction of data once a day, once a week. Think about a situation where you have as a retailer a stock take once and a half a year or only once a year, because you have to count everything. You don't have RFID or something. You don't have anything in place. Then you will find out there's a lot of missing and a lot of losses in between. So retail data is extremely important. Together with real-time data, I can start sorting this data, I can start using it. I can start using it directly in the second of when I get it.
Yeah.
And together with the more sources of a real-time data generation, like from AI, artificial intelligence, we can start using this data for automation.
Correct. And I think before we go there, Eckhard, I think you just touch a very, very important topic, because we being in marketing,
Yes.
For us data is gold, and we
Exactly.
are seeing now, let's say, a gold mine in front of us with all this data being generated. So I guess you agree with Eckhard on what he said, right?
I completely agree. And yes, marketing is it's a good example of that, because data provides us lots of information about our customer and their expectation. And based on that, we can provide the right offer. And especially for retailers, because retailers is really important for them to get the information about which product the customer likes or doesn't like, and which product they have to produce more. So based on that, they can take a key strategic decision, and also they have a look, an overview on their inventory stocks. So when they saw that there is some product that they don't sell enough, marketing can take some action on that immediately. So by proposing a special offer or discount, sending a communication and so on. So yes, data is gold, and for sure for retailers, but also for all the markets.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but certainly we are looking every day to ways that we can use the data in a more efficient way. But certainly years ago, we did not have that data. So,
No.
And also you pointed also something very important, Eckhard, is like the real-time availability. Real-time is not only to have the data, but it's also very important that we have the data from now. Here and now, not the data from a week ago. And I think that's also one of the challenges that probably not only the printers, but the whole technology is facing nowadays, correct?
It's true, absolutely. Now the technology, now we have the data, we have the processing capabilities, we have the identification capabilities. So think about AI. What is a big thing, even if it's now visual, so visualization of AI, or if it's RFID based customer flows, where you can, coming back to marketing, where you can actually place the right products in the right way and place the right products in the customer flow. The data makes it possible to make more automation. And if you have automation, you might think about what is that? what is automation in retail or in general. I think everybody of us has been in those stores where you get a little barcode reader.
Correct.
Yeah, we have that in Sweden. I guess they're
Everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere. So you have a loyalty card. The system knows who you are, and then you get this little scanner, and you actually do the cashier's work while you're shopping.
Correct.
Yeah, again, milk or whatsoever, and then you check out, and you have 7 tills, which just needs one person. So this automation puts it easier to the customer because he doesn't have to wait that long.
Yeah,
he just pays and goes out. Number one. Number two, it's obviously reducing staff, or, which is even more important if we think about apparel retail, you can have staff for service in the store, to help the customers to do a kind of consultative work with the customer and take that away. But that's one way of automation and using the data. I think we can find other possible things.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's interesting because it's offer a new offer to the customer. Like you said, it can be 24 hours open because right now in some country, for example in France, at 7 p.m. everything is closed. So that's great.
And that's for sure a business opportunity. I think 9 out of 10 times that we do a podcast, we end up, it doesn't matter the technology, but we end up talking about the customer experience, and the way that the manufacturers, are answering that customer experience is also driving the market. So I think, of course, being one of the leaders in the market, you probably have a word to say on that, right? On your experience, on how the people is reacting every time you bring a new technology. Probably if the people is satisfied, if you are really spotting what they wanted, or you just totally miss it. Huh?
We learn a lot from our customer, and we listen to them. That's important for SATO when we are developing a product and solution, because we are on site with our customers, so we know their expectation, their needs, their issue, and based on that we can offer really customized solution. That is, for example, we develop one technology, SATO technology, which is AEP, but I think Eckhard will talk about it in a better word than me. But yes, AEP is one of solution that show that customer expect customization.
Okay, so we've been talking about those containers that you mentioned before, on the Swedish countryside, and I'm sure you have many other experiences like that, right?
Stop for a second.
Yeah.
Did we talk in the real?
I was thinking. I don't know if we talk about the containers or the
We
cereal
did
shops.
talk.
I think it was before, right?
Before.
Okay.
Yes. Let me go into automation based on what Emilie said earlier. It's 24/7. You mentioned. Think about a situation where the next grocery store is 100 kilometers away. Yeah, that's northern Sweden. I'm from Sweden, but I guess it's the same in Montana, Canada. Don't mention those other countries.
We are in Barcelona, just 200 kilometers from here, and there is an area which is 25 inhabitants per square kilometer. So don't think it's very far away from there.
So we have seen developing something. I'm coming to the printing later. Developing something which is a non-staff store, 24/7. Really 24/7, where you have an app and you authenticate yourself. You get in, you purchase. I talked to them. They're working with RFID in that case, so RFID technology. Everything has an RFID tag. For example, your milk. It's base stuff. Milk, bread, cheese. I don't know, coffee. Most likely, if it's in Sweden, you have a lot of coffee. And then you go out and you don't have to drive the 100 kilometers to the full-blown grocery store.
Correct.
And that works. That works with a connection to the cloud. So the store is coupled to the cloud, to a cloud service. And our printers are coupled to the cloud as well, based on AEP. I'm going to go into AEP. AEP is a product that we developed let me see, we are 22 now, so it's approximately 14 years old. and it brought intelligence to the printer, as we say. So for processes and tasks where you don't want to have a full-blown PC aside, which is, for example, in the kitchen. So think about that was actually the first thing that we developed it for. Think about you have a fast food restaurant. You want to take out things from the fridge or the freezer, and it has to be marked when it was taken out because it's a best before date or it's a
Correct.
final usage date, and it's different for tomatoes than for meat, clearly. So the printer itself has a small little database on board. So when I type 08, for example, it knows, oh, it's a tomato. Oh, it's 3 hours. So it prints a label which you can put on the carton, and you know after 3 hours you have to have used those tomatoes. And this we developed. Obviously, 16 years is quite a lot of time, and now we have a situation where this system, this intelligence is so powerful that it can connect to cloud services.
Right.
So we talked about data, real-time data in the beginning. We talked about automation. We talked about those containers that are out in the wild wilderness. So there we have a little sub-container as well for the logistic company, which has a kiosk built in with our printer that is connected to the cloud. So if you purchase, because if you want to send a parcel, you don't want to go that 100 kilometers either.
Nope.
So you purchase on the internet, you purchase a parcel, and you get a QR code which the printer reads and gives you the logistic label as it should be, as you would get it anywhere, but without any staff, out in the wilderness, and you just leave the parcel. And when the whole thing, also the grocery store, the automatic grocery store, is replenished, they just take the parcels with them and leave them to the logistic company.
This is absolutely great because this is one step ahead on what we have seen so far, right? It's getting closer to the customer, but get closer to a customer who lives isolated in an area. That's more and more difficult. And technology today is bringing this, so we are getting to the customers at the end.
Yes.
We are getting closer to the customers at the end. Hey, the cloud is also one of those words that is coming out on every single podcast that we do, right? It's customer experience, cloud. The cloud seems to be, well, in fact it is, the place where all this digitalization, all this customer experience, all this data and real-time that we are generating, or real-time availability that we are generating comes together, right? And you mentioned something like the load balance, right? So could you be a little bit more precise talking about that, please, Eckhard?
Well, there was an application that we have for a high volume printing system. And we just connected to the cloud 6 different printers, whereas each printer just reports back, oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
So the system doesn't shoot on one printer all the time and the other ones do like nothing. That's true. But cloud in general, the nice thing with cloud is that the systems up there talk to each other. They have standardized APIs, and then they talk with the consumer. If it's now B2C or B2B or whatsoever, it talks with the end customer like a UI, so to say. And since we can connect our printers to the cloud and interact, we can give information back. It's bidirectional.
Correct.
So you could have barcode checkers. You could have, and we're going into one topic now, which is very interesting, and that's traceability.
Yeah.
So we can make sure that RFID is secure printed, and we can report back different things that happen with the printer. You can have sensors attached to the printer. This AEP gives you also the possibility to put peripherals into the printer, and so on and so forth. So a printer kind of for the identification processes, it becomes a kind of hub for processes where you don't need complex PC systems.
Correct. But choosing the data that you need, that's also critical, right? You mentioned also before that a printer has got over 1,600 parameters which could be traced. Because if you ask me right now, what could you be tracing from a printer? I could just start 1, 2, 3, and after 10, I would stop probably. But 1,600, Eckhard, that's a lot. How do you choose? How do you select? How do you segment, the kind of data that you need, and how do you make that
from those 1,600 parameters, which we have available in the printer, we would select a portion which is important for the customer. So if we, for example, now think about a remote management of a printer fleet, it would be, of course, interesting if a printer fails or not. So on or off.
Of course.
That's a very easy parameter. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And you would have parameters like end of label, where you can do a replenishment of the labels. You would have parameters like the darkness of the printhead. Why would I like that? Yeah, because if I run it on very dark, it will cost me more printhead over the time.
Correct.
So if I have a printer fleet of like I don't know, a big retailer in America has 3,600 printers, and if they have that many and you want to reduce your costs, you just put on every printer 5 because it's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this kind of stuff can be done, and it can be done over the cloud. It can be done without a smart device attached, and then the point comes in what I said earlier with AAP collecting data.
Correct.
So if you have barcode scanners attached or scales attached or whatsoever, you can collect that data and send it back.
Well, certainly printers are but they are a critical part, but of a complete solution. So normally everything you are mentioning right now needs not only printers, but needs also all kinds of, technology around to make a real solution for the customer. You have addressed something which is very important, is the traceability. And if I don't remember wrong, the definition was like the wish of the individual to know more about a product, right? So I think traceability is also one of those things that has changed our lives in the last 10 years and is going to be changing much more in the coming future, right, Emilie?
Yes, because traceability also means a way to work on sustainability issue. The customer is more and more responsible and wants to know the origin of the product, where it was produced, by who. Sometimes they would like to know the name of the person who produced it, but also the what kind of materials they used and where these materials were produced, and so on. So transparency is also a key topic, and traceability can be the way to offer this to the customer. No, you don't agree?
No.
Sorry.
No, sorry for my jest. I do agree at all. What I wonder is how this is, let's say, an opportunity, also for the resellers. How the printing, the companies who are installing solutions, can make out of that, an opportunity. I think it's very obvious, but still sometimes you still need to explain to people why this needs to be done.
And for retail, it's also very important from strategy point of view, because it's about the image that the brand can provide to their customer, and like this they can create some emotional connection, and we know that it's really important for a brand to create this emotional connection to get the loyalty of their customer. So they have to build an ethical or recyclable politics, I would say, process, and labeling, printing is part of this. Traceability is one part of this, but also the materials that we can provide for this traceability is important, because, for example, the labels. I don't know if everybody knows, but there is one linerless product which the product doesn't have a back paper behind. So it reduced the waste produced by labeling, and that's part of this sustainability strategy. So this plus plus this, plus this, plus this. At the end, we can create a better world. I will say, and
that's becoming critical because, as we also discussed before, when we are talking about being eco-friendly or working in a sustainable world, printers are always like in a big question mark, right? Hey, we think that if we use less paper, the world will be better. We all agree on that. But and this is also why we address this topic at the beginning with printers going beyond, because we still see a key role played by the printers in this change too.
Yeah.
But we will be addressing this in a few minutes. Talking about traceability, Eckhard, can you give us a good example of how you are experiencing, the importance of that in the challenge of technology in this moment?
Well, I think everybody of us, especially younger people, are getting more and more into consciousness of knowing where the stuff they buy come from.
Correct.
And this comes along obviously with thoughts about the environment. This comes of thoughts about the work conditions in where my t-shirt comes from, where my milk comes from, and in Sweden we have a lot of thoughts about our farmers as well.
Correct.
And obviously it comes with food and so on and so forth. So one thing that comes up more and more, which we see, is a kind of blockchain in this area. So we would produce with our printers, again, connected to the cloud, a QR code, connecting to this special food chain. And then in the store, you just take a picture of the QR code, and it leads you directly to the whole chain. Take a big grocery store chain with 4 letters from Germany. You can even see the name of the cow where your meat is made from. Take another apparel retailer from Copenhagen. You can really go all the way back to the place, more or less the location where the cotton, the bamboo, or whatever fabrics you have used comes from, who was sewing it up, what transportation was chosen, and so on and so forth. So every step on this way, you put it into the blockchain, as well as we can connect and put the stamp into the blockchain as well to say this is printed at that time at this location, and so on and so forth. And this becomes more and more valid and interesting and important for more younger people, maybe, to really feel the consciousness of what I'm consuming.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it's conscious from every age, right? The only question is we probably matter about different things. So maybe older people is more concerned about security. They have been living in times where, I don't know, when you drink milk or ate meat, you were not sure if that was in good conditions or where is this coming from. And maybe the younger generation are more concerned, not maybe so much about security, but they are more concerned about how eco-friendly is that, So going back to sustainability and also linking with the traceability that you've been thinking, we are living in a world which seems to be very, very sensitive to the eco-friendly, technology, So I have a question for you, Emilie. Is that in the process of sale, in the customer experience, is it as important as it looks? Because it looks very important, but is it a real truth that people is really demanding that right now and buying based on that?
Yes, for sure. Because as you mentioned, now the mentality are changing. For example, at school, we start to learn environment things. I have a kid and he do spectacle and the topic was about environment. So yes, I think consumer now decide based on some decision they have to take about sustainability and
so if we bring this down to the printing manufacturing, linerless labeling, that's a critical, let's say, jump in this moment into the market, right? Do you feel it, or is not, again, sorry for the question, or is it not as important as it looks?
No, it's important. It's important. We have some requests from big company who would like to reduce their waste. And I don't know if you know what the quantity of waste that it could represent for big worldwide companies, let's say in food manufacturing. Do you know per day what is the quantity of waste? It's 300 tons per day in the world. So it's a huge amount of waste, and that is why now companies are looking for solution to reduce that, and linerless printing could be is the right solution. So we can reduce our waste with simple solution, I would say.
Absolutely, that's true.
And on top of that, talking about sustainability, can you imagine 300 tons a day? Somebody has to drive them from A to B and from B to A back.
Correct.
So it's the complete sustainability cycle, environmental cycle. Yes, linerless is more expensive, but nobody counts the trucks that go back and forth.
No, correct. Absolutely truth. And then you also mentioned, or you were addressing during our previous conversation, you were addressing something which is, to me, was shocking, because you were talking about the opportunity for printing in the second hand, in the circular economy, right? So, and you were also mentioning some examples, in the area of the not B2C, C2B, in the area of C to B to C. Which I don't know where all this is going to be ending, in a few years, because every year we find new letters. But that's a very interesting concept. How is the printing manufacturing, the manufacturing companies, answering to this C to B to C?
Yes. So just to explain maybe this new model, because it's based on the C2C model. Like we can mention Vinted. For example, is this kind of second-hand platform. And now we see the new model. So as you said, the C to B to C model, where company just include more services in this offer. So basically, they can offer repairing service, reconditioning service, they can extend the warranty of a product. So there is a real opportunities for companies who want to do to go in the second-hand offer. And we have good example of big company such as
Patagonia, you mean?
Yeah, Patagonia. Sorry. Patagonia. So is an American retailers, and the offer can be quite expensive for people. So basically, thanks they develop a second-hand platform, their own platform, where people can just sell all the clothes that they sell, they purchased before. And for Patagonia, it could be also strategical because they can win more new customer who didn't access to their offer usually, and like this they can they can buy their brand, and they can start as I mentioned, to build this emotional connection. So that's really important.
That was the impacting thing to me, because also when you talk about that, in my imagination, automatically you see, okay, if this is happening, less and less printers are needed. And in fact, it's a contrary. There are examples you mentioned before also in our previous conversation, companies like the French Leroy Merlin, one of the top DIY, let's say, shop retailers in Europe. And they are also, maybe you can explain something about that, and they are also starting to repack things which are used, which they have sold. I assume they have sold, or maybe they have not sold, but they are taking this, repacking, refurbishing, bringing back to the customer. That's a printing opportunity, but that's also a shocking experience to me, to be honest. I have never seen this before.
Yes, and it's in the same way than Patagonia. So the customer can go on the web app, just sell his product, and then he will receive a label delivery label. So he can go in a delivery point where he will place his item, and from this delivery point, the item goes directly to the repair center of Leroy Merlin, and from this center, Leroy Merlin can work on this product, reconditioning it, and can propose a new product very quickly to their customer. So
that's fantastic, because I mean we are all used to see all these shops which are second-hand shops, and then you go there and you find your skis or your bike and etc. But you see they have been used. They are not always in the best conditions. You have to take them as they are. So I think this is one step ahead of that. It's like, hey, we are going to make a second-hand product, which is demanded by people because they are very concerned on the eco-friendly, let's say, retailers. They are trading. They are concerned about the ecosystem, and they are now bringing this in good conditions to the people. This is also a good opportunity for the printing manufacturers. Not to speak about fulfillment, right, Eckhard? Fulfillment is very one of those things that probably has made a big change in the last two years as the post-pandemic era that we are living in.
Yes, indeed. We see that all, you and me, everybody at home sees that. If we order something online, then we would like to have it directly.
Correct.
During pandemic, it was not possible. Well, in Sweden it was, kind of, but not in the rest of Europe.
If you're alone in the north, and there is no people around, sure it's possible.
Get you. But nevertheless, I want it fast, and if we look into hospitality or restaurants, if we order some pizza, we don't want them next day. Obviously, we want them directly.
Correct.
So you have dark kitchens to be local, more local. It works in urban areas that you have local, like kind of small DCs where you can fulfill within maybe 2 hours. Again, maybe fossil free, which is a question that comes up more and more from the people that order online. I wanted fossil free. We were in sustainability. We were in environmental, and here it's the same. As you might know, the German Post 5 years ago already built their own electrical cars together with an engineering company, because the big five weren't able to deliver something electrical.
Correct.
That has changed now a little bit, but it's extremely expensive still. So sustainability and eco-friendliness comes in also in fulfillment. We want it faster, and obviously every parcel that we deliver, everything that is in the parcel needs an idea. Needs an identification, needs a shipping label, needs a reshipping label, and things like that. And here also cloud comes in again. If you have fulfillment to the customer, well, fine. What happens if it's going back? We were talking about those containers earlier, where you can buy a parcel back. Today, if you get a delivery from e-commerce, you usually changes a little bit, but the most of them already have a return label built in or packed in. Yes. So with the possibility to have a non-staffed and cloud-enabled printer somewhere in a store of a competitor or in a container, as I said, you just send together with the order confirmation. You just send an QR code, and if I want to send it back, I go to that printer and print that label. It's approximately, if you have a read send rate of 50%, it's obviously 50% of non-needed labels produced will go away.
Absolutely. To me, it's like a perfect storm, right? We've been talking about let's say. Start with the data. We are talking about also the cloud. We are talking about also recycling. So all these brings at the end into the complete concept of let's say circular economy. And I think it's time really to recap a little bit and to talk about the opportunities. You are one of the top printer manufacturers in the world. When you see let's say the opportunities that all this circular economy, despite of what the people might think, but all the opportunities that this change is bringing to the printing technology, I think we should mention a few of them. Probably the first one is really like again, ship from store, right? That could be one of the biggest clear opportunities right now, low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, ship from store. Well, everybody's is okay with that, or knows that concept. It makes the inventory of a retailer extremely flexible. It makes shipping, both shipping time and shipping length in terms of kilometers, much shorter, and it's it takes inventory down. So if I really work with that concept, obviously I need a very good system behind that, IT system. But then I also need to print the logistic labels.
Correct.
For this ship from store. And that can be done easily if you have those IT systems. They most likely are in the cloud nowadays, and then you just connect the printer to the cloud and select printing there directly. So the store at the end of the day doesn't even need to be connected. You can send that order and the receipt and the label directly, and they know, okay, this is kind of now my picking list.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Also, one of those, let's say, consequences of these changes, and one of the big opportunities is that the products are in out much more. So the reverse logistics are really playing a good role in this in this game, right? And that's also a very good opportunity for the printing.
Yes, that's for sure an opportunity for the printing. But I just want to come back on what Eckhard said.
Please.
I would like to mention one example, which is Intersport, who implement this ship from store solution. And
so for the people who doesn't know, Intersport is one of the main retailers on sport dedicated stuff, right? In France originally, but also present everywhere in Europe.
Yes. And so they implemented this solution, and they increased by 200% their revenue on online in 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
So that is interesting.
The question is how much they were selling before, because double of zero is zero. So let's be careful with that. But I think it's a very good improvement, for sure.
That's a good improvement. So that is why I would like to highlight the fact that always solution that we can propose is strategic and benefit for the final customer, which is the retailers here. So
that's very good. Reverse technology, I think reverse logistics is really one of the key elements, right? But also repacking. I think at the end, repacking, as you said before, with the example of Leroy Merlin, I think is one of those challenges which really becomes an opportunity for the printer manufacturers. Correct?
It's right. All those things we're talking about now is important to have an integrated printing solution, reduce times for humans to search something, reduce human errors, reduce the dependability of available time of human beings. So we were talking about automation. So here is something we can automate very easily with connecting the printers, connecting them into a cloud system that simply collects the right printer at the right time with the right data.
So I don't want to finish this podcast without addressing one of the hottest topics in the printing industry. SATO has got probably one of the best RFID systems and technologies in the printing industry, right? And RFID is also one of those opportunities that people is or should be addressing more nowadays. It's really improving the service and the efficiency. Do you agree with me?
Absolutely. RFID has become in the last, I would say, well, it's a technology that has been there for very long.
Of course.
The first time I heard about RFID was far back in the 1900 years. Yeah. It was from lingerie manufacturer Triumph.
That's why you remember.
That's why I remember. But in the last years, it became more and more used for more normal data collection, as we talked about earlier. And RFID, SATO has both RFID encoding capabilities, but we also have our own production of RFID labels, actually. Very, very modern, just for the last years now. And the more you look into retail now back again, well, RFID is very much in healthcare, it's in retail, it's in logistics. But now focusing first on retail is more and more bigger store chains are changing over to RFID to have a more concrete understanding of their in-store situation. As we said earlier, ship from store gives more flexibility, blah, blah, blah. But you have to know exactly, again, with real-time data, what you have. So if you've seen, for example, those robots that go through stores, it's pretty new. They actually have RFID readers built in, so you have a constant idea of what's in the store. They can read even socks, not only lingerie. They can read everything at any time. So that's important for real-time data collection and for visibility and flexibility in the supply chain.
That's all about. I mean, that's all what it's about, because the customer wants transparency, right, Emilie? I mean, I think transparency is one of those things that RFID is helping with.
Yes, definitely. So yes, we mentioned the fact that transparency is really important. So we can say that RFID can propose a solution to track one product from the origin to the end of the supply chain, but also because in the whole process of the supply chain, we will have several suppliers. So like this, we can also track all the process for each supplier. So that's
that's obviously it's important. We know that, but maybe you can be more precise. And you have a very good case study, right, with El Corte Inglés in Spain with your Vamos Cloud technology.
Indeed, yes. Well, Spain was very early actually in the apparel industry. Another big chain from Spain used RFID very early. But now El Corte, well, now some years back, El Corte Inglés started to completely change over to everything in the store shall have an RFID ID. So for that you need IT systems to track and trace and do the bookings into the ERP system, to do the replenishment planning and all this kind of stuff. But not every of their suppliers has this whole thing. The only thing they need is really to deliver to El Corte Inglés pre-tagged, RFID tagged goods.
Yeah.
So we have invented here in Spain actually what we call Vamos Cloud, which is a cloud-based, very easy system to maintain and administer RFID GTINs and numbers, and export them and send them over to the customer El Corte Inglés. So let's say one of the suppliers like Chico, child seats, they tag their things that have to go to El Corte Inglés. They put it into our Vamos Cloud system, and the Vamos Cloud system comes as a complete bundle. So it's a subscription-based system in the cloud and a printer and some tags, and then they send it over to El Corte Inglés, and they can import it into their system and have full visibility on the products in from the various suppliers.
That's a very good example to finish this podcast. So thank you, SATO, for having been with us today. I think we have been addressing many things, many challenges, many opportunities too, and I think it was great to come to with you to tell the market, how the printers can go beyond. So thank you very much, Eckhard. Thank you very much, Emilie. I hope to see you soon. I hope you enjoy your day in Barcelona, and then we'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.